So, the spoilers are out for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 362, and let's just say that Horikoshi finally did it. He finally killed off a very main and prominent character in the class of 1A, and it's going to be a shocking one if this is true, and we'll talk about who this character is, but first, right after this. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Monkey Man Drew, and I'm here to do my manga spoilers, or cover the manga spoilers for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 362. And boy oh boy, are there some shocking stuff in these spoilers. From what we get from the spoilers, this is going to be most likely than not a very short chapter, but a very action-packed chapter, because we're going to get some surprises with Tamaki, some surprises with All for One, and some surprises with a certain explosive boy, and we'll get to that soon enough. But let's just dive right into the spoilers, because there's some interesting stuff to start off with. For instance, the title of the chapter is Light Fades to Rain, and this is going to be a call to what is going to be going on in this chapter. But going into the spoilers proper, Tamaki thinks about Fat, Kirishima, Tetsu, and Mirio. He concentrates and shoots, calling it Vast Hybrid Plasma Cannon. It's one of the biggest special techniques in the whole series. You can see the beam reaching for miles and miles beyond the barrier. So just with that, we see that this is a very powerful attack. So this is very cool to see that Tamaki can pull off an attack this powerful with time. However, with the next line of text spoilers, but even that isn't enough to hurt Tomura All for One. He asks Tamaki if he really thinks Prime All Might would die from such an attack. When all seems lost, Bakugo stands up. He's moving insanely fast. Shigaraki can't keep up. His pupils have the cluster explosion effect. We get some narration explaining his quirk, and it says that cluster has a secondary effect of allowing him to produce explosions from his whole body. While he's fighting, Bakugo thinks to himself, can I still keep up with you, Izuku? And this is very interesting, because this is something that we didn't really know about cluster, that it has the ability to pretty much heighten Bakugo's speed all over his body, and these explosions are so effective that it can send him flying at breakneck speeds, which would explain how he was able to keep up with Izuku, even though Izuku has one for all. So this is a good explanation, and this isn't something that we could say came out of nowhere, because we know that he was at the very least able to keep up with Izuku, and that this is probably how he was able to do it. It may have required a little bit more setup, or maybe it's something that he can't just pull out at any time, especially from what we see with the end of this chapter. But we see that he's able to just move extremely fast, and most likely he's able to land devastating hits on All for One, to the point where All for One Shigaraki cannot keep up. And from what we see with the next line of text spoilers, All for One doesn't understand why he's feeling uneasy, even though he's not fighting against an All for One user. But that's when he remembers the second user. He then goes for an all-out attack. Bakugo sees himself in a white space facing All Might's aura, ghost / spirit. So this is probably something very interesting. We're seeing that there may be a connection between Bakugo and the second user. And I know people have the theories of, oh yeah, no, this is Bakugo going back in time to give Izuku his explosion powers. No, that's most likely not going to be the case. From what we're inferring from this, most likely either Bakugo is very reminiscent of the second user, so he's seeing like his image inside of the second user coming from All for One's or Shigaraki's perspective, or it could be that Bakugo is an ancestor of the second user, which makes sense. We've seen that even though All for One may take the quirks of other individuals or have conflicts with other individuals, that their spawn or their children may live on. So it is a possibility that the second user did have children that All for One was not aware of. So it could be that, or it could just be symbolic, as I was saying prior, similar to how Endeavor was able to give All for One during his actual fight with his actual body that same fear and expression that All Might did. So there are many possibilities to interpret this, but I think that the very much likelihood is that he's either actually connected to the second user, or it's just a representation or symbolic representation of the second user from Bakugo's perspective. So we could get a little bit more understanding of what this is with the chapter proper coming out, but now we're getting more into the juicier parts of the spoilers, because Bakugo immediately understands what's happening and reveals his only regret. I really wanted you to sign my All Might card. The big three plus Mirko appear and rush towards All for One, landing a blow at him at the same time, but something terrible happened. The news are reporting a sudden increase in the temperature. The civilians are confused. We see a panel of Bakugo's parents. All for One tells them why they thought they had any chance. The heroes are all shocked beyond belief. Bakugo's heart has stopped. He lays on the ground. The last page is a double-page spread, a truly heartbreaking one. Their blood on Bakugo's face, and you see that All Might card near him. So, the implication is that Bakugo has died in this chapter, and that something's going on with the ocean. Why are these two things very important, you may ask? Well, for one, the ocean is where Deku is, and the fact that something is going on with the ocean and the temperature may involve Bakugo. This could potentially also be referring to, I'm not even sure if it says ocean, maybe that's just my headcanon, I probably didn't read it, but there is an increase in temperature. We don't know where that's coming from. It could also be coming from Dabi, so that's something else. I'm trying not to address the issue that Horikoshi potentially just killed Bakugo in this chapter, because I'm in very much disbelief. Now, I'm not saying that Horikoshi isn't bold enough to kill off a character like Bakugo, but I also understand that this is a Shonen Jump series, and that Shonen Jump series rarely kill off their main or duo protagonists even at the end of the story. But Horikoshi has killed characters in the past. Like, they may not be the most prominent characters, but we have had definitive character deaths. You have Night Eye, you have Twice, you have Midnight. He isn't as afraid to kill off characters as people may believe, so I can believe that Bakugo might be dead in this moment, but I can also believe that this could be setting up for something else, and that Bakugo may not necessarily be dead. But if Horikoshi actually goes through with this, I would be very impressed and very shocked about this revelation. So it's very cool to see that this is going to be a possibility, and see how this shakes the internet and the My Hero Academia fandom. So yeah, this is all I really have to say for the chapter spoilers for this week. Hopefully you enjoyed the chapter, hopefully you enjoyed the spoilers, and let me ask you this one simple question. Do you think that Bakugo is actually dead? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below, leave a like on the video if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!